Hello student, how are you? Today I am making a video on some important questions and answers about the 4 mark questions to be asked in the CBSE for your annual examinations. And I will just discuss the answers in a short form and don't elaborate it in them. You can take a screenshot of these answers also. Now, the first question that is likely expected to come in your annual examination. The first question is: what factors help the European Union to become a powerful organization? Or it can be asked how European Union has become a new center or alternative center of power. So this question is important. Here you can just explain from the beginning that European Union that is a regional organization of the European continent. It is becoming more powerful in the present world. European Union, as we can see, that it came into existence in the year 1992 after this Maastricht Treaty, and the following are the factor that makes European Union as a powerful. First point, as it is mentioned here, that EU has a very huge and distinct world economy by the year 2005, and its GDP that is much higher than even the America. Second point, the European Union has a common currency that is called the euro dollar, that is also becoming a very powerful, and America is also feeling threatened about this the rise of this European dollars. Now third point is that EU shares an international trade much higher. Its international trade is much higher. The EU's share in the international trade is 3 times more than the US, which makes the EU as a powerful organization. And the fourth point is France, also a member of the EU, is a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, and it has a marvelous nuclear potential also. Nuclear power is very rich in this, and due to this ability of the France also, and it is also making very influential policies with the other countries in the world. And the fifth point I here it is mentioned here, the European Union is also most powerful organization in the world in terms of the military capability, and this organization became even stronger and more powerful due to the France having the nuclear power. So these are the most important points. Now come to the second question. The second question, that what are the main reasons responsible for the failure of democracy in Pakistan? So you all of you know that democracy is not stable in Pakistan. Okay, both Pakistan and military rule are the same. This are the two sides of the same coin. And here we can answer that how democracy is not successful in Pakistan. The answer is that first, I have highlighted in this color also. First is the interference of the army in the politics of the Pakistan. The roots of the democracy have not become completely permanent here. Second point is the interference of the religious leaders in the politics. The religious leaders, they interfere. Their interference in the politics is very high, and they influence the policies, and also a major factor for the failure of democracy government in Pakistan. Third point is the big landlords and the landowners. They are also responsible for the failure of democracy in Pakistan, who influence the decision making and the policies of the elected government or the ruling government. And the fourth point here I mentioned is the strained relationship between India and the Pakistan. We know from the partition also, India and Pakistan, they are experiencing a strained relations. Their relationships are not good, and Pakistan, due to which elected government here has to face the additional pressure. Now come to the fifth point, the lack of fairness among the people. The people are they are not aware of a democratic feature, and this is also responsible for the failure of democracy in the Pakistan, and this is the weakening the roots of the democracy in Pakistan. The sixth point here is one of the reason responsible for the failure of democracy is that lot of corruption in the political party system is there. Okay? And due to which there is a lack of healthy public opinion, and healthy public opinion is not formed. So these are the major 6 points to be answered in this question. Why democracy is not successful in Pakistan? Now come to the third question. The third question: on which area is there a dispute between India and Sri Lanka? How both these countries are having a strained relations, or the areas of dispute between India and Sri Lanka. Now, first answer to this point is that maritime boundary. Demarcation is also as an area of dispute between India and Pakistan, India and Sri Lanka. India and Sri Lanka are connected through this Park Water Treaty, and there is a tension between them regarding the maritime boundary. So this is the main thing that they have not, in spite of this demarcation, division of this maritime boundary, still these countries are experiencing the tension. The second point is the Tamil problem is also a major factor of tension between India and Sri Lanka. The Tamil community is also a major factor responsible for the ethnic conflict in the Sri Lanka. The Sri Lanka every time blames India for having this ethnic conflicts in their country, and India policies toward the Tamils lead a strained relations between the two countries also. The third point is due to Sri Lanka's inclination towards China. So this is also, and we know that we are not, India is not experiencing a good relation with the China, and whereas Sri Lanka is more inclined, means Sri Lanka is getting a lot of support from the China, and this is increasing, and this relationship is increasing with the Western countries, and this is a tension of relations between these two countries, India and Sri Lanka. Now, fourth point of problem is regarding the fishermen. Both the countries between India and Sri Lanka, under which the fishermen of the both country violates each other limits of the fishing also. So these are the areas of the conflict between India and Sri Lanka. Now the fourth question that is important: analyze the relationship between India and Maldives. Maldives, you know, this is also our neighboring country, so we have to analyze. Now first relationship. They are having a good relation. We all know that and relationship between India and Maldives have been very cordial and very good, and we understand each other a bit and through the following points. First, in the year 1988, when some of the Tamil Mudscanis from Sri Lanka attacked Maldives, India took the immediate action with the Air Force and Navy and helped the Maldives. And third point, India and Maldives also have a very good relation in tourism and fishing industries also, and both these countries have a cooperation in these areas in the fishing and tourism. Now come to the fourth point. India has continuously assisted in the economic development of the Maldives. Means India is also helping Maldives in their economic development and has signed various several bilateral agreements between both. Now come to the fifth point. India has signed the four MOUs with the Maldives in November 2020, which are as follows. The two MOUs have been signed for the High Impact Community Development Project. Next, an MOU has been signed between Maldives and India on cooperation in sports and youth affairs. Next, an MOU has been signed for a grant of $100 million as a part of India's $500 million package for GMCP Greater Mail Connectivity Project here also. So various MOU has been signed between India and Maldives. So this shows that how both these countries are experiencing a good relationship. You can make another point also. Now come to the fifth question. The fifth question that is expected, that identify the areas for enhancing the peace and cooperation in the countries of South Asia. The areas on which we can enhance the peace and cooperation. This is also expected from your NCRT book also. The areas are: first, these countries need further liberalize free trade to enhance peace and cooperation in Southeast Asia. So, these country needs more liberalized policies have a free trade. Second point is there is a need to adopt a collaborative approach to enhance the peace and cooperation. And collaborative approach is because there is an urgent need to eliminate the poverty and unemployment that is prevalent in the Southeast Asian countries. Now, third point is the bilateral disputes are seen in abundance in various countries of South Asia, and due to this, there is a situation of conflict and tensions in this region. Hence, we need to resolve this bilateral dispute quickly. Fourth point is political instability is also found in many countries of South Asia due to the situation of conflict and tensions that are persistent. Persistent means they are continued in these countries, and since there is a need for political stability and established peace and cooperation in this region, so there should be more focus on political stability. The fifth point is that the countries of South Asia are mainly struggling for the terrible problem that is called the terrorism. And due to these situations, the tensions and conflict are continuous or persistent in these countries of South Asia. Hence, terrorism has been is used to increase the if we unite together, and it is necessary to end it terrorism in all forms of it. The sixth point is it is very important for the countries of South Asia to understand that any of their dispute or issue should be resolved by working together and not with the intervention of any other external power. So these Southeast Asian countries, they must unite together if they want to resolve their internal dispute and without any interference by the any external power or the external countries. So these are the points that elaborates the point how the South Asia country they must unite together to promote peace and stability or to promote democratic aspirations in their regions. Now, sixth question that is expected: why do we need international organization? Give an for example, as it is a 4 marks question. We know that UN is becoming a very important organization in this present global, but still we need why this is related to the question of the what is the importance of this UN. Now, need and necessity of the UN. First, at present time, international organizations have become very necessary due to the international organization. Many disputes and tensions in the world which are being resolved peacefully, and we can understand the need through the following points. First point is that international organization plays an important role in resolving the various types of international disputes and tensions. We also need an international organization because no other country alone can solve their dispute or conflicts occurring to their international level. So there must be an intermediate person, or you can get organization, that is the international organization, that is the UN. UN is there always to resolve the internal dispute among the two countries. Now, come to the second point. We also need international organization to put an end to the war. If some country is experiencing any international war, so this international organization is there to resolve that conflict, and this international organization plays an important role as a mediator when the war arises and when the war occurs between the two countries or major countries. Now, third point is that international organizations are important and helpful in the economic development of the world. So, if we can say that no other country can absolutely help each other for their economic development, but this international organization helps the other countries by they are providing absolute essential for the implementation of their plans and policies for the economic development and assistance. So international organization is there to help the various countries to achieve their economic development prospects also. Now come to the fourth point. The fourth point, as we need that international organization, because this continuous natural disasters and epidemics can be faced only together. So international organization bring all the countries on one platform to combat these disasters and epidemics. Combat means to end these disasters and epidemics. So UN is playing an emergent roles at international level. Now come to the fifth point. International organization are also needed to to encourage the spirit of international cooperation among the various countries at a global level to achieve the development. If international organization develop the feeling of mutual harmony and brotherhood among all the countries of the world, there could be a proper development among all the countries at the global level. Now come to the sixth point. We also need the international organization for various types of the global problems because no single country can face these problems. These are universal in nature. For example, we can say the global warming, the major issue, the environmental issues are there, which can't be only one country's effort is not sufficient in this. For this, we need the international organization, and this is a major problem of every country. So it has emerged a global problem. So there is need of international organization which try to solve these various uh, global problem. So we are here that we can understand now with these 6 points that how international organizations are playing an important role at a global level. Either this can be asked explain the importance and the role of the UN also. So these same 6 points could be the answer. Now come to the seventh question. The seventh question is describe the main objectives and the principles of the UN. United Nations, its basic principles and objectives is first as to maintain the peace at international level. So UN is always there to remove all the dispute and the conflict situations by interfering with all the countries of the world. Second point, the major objective and the principle of the United Nations is that it's trying to keep the mutual cooperation and the coordination among all the countries of the world. It is maintaining a coordination and a cooperation means they are making the good relations among all the countries in the world, and this is the main objective of the UN to maintain the cooperation. Third point is the main objective of the UN is that it tried to save the world from the third war. We have experienced the two world war. Now it is trying that the world could not face any third war, and it is trying to prevent any possibilities of any kind of war that are arising. Now, fourth point is the main objective of the UN is that it tries to combat the economic it tries to conduct the economic cooperation at global level so that economic relation between all the countries of the world became sweet and development of all the countries of the world can be ensured. So it is trying very hard that there should be economic cooperation among the various countries at the global level so that the sweetness of the development at global level could be experienced or to be ensured. Ensured means that all the countries will get the benefit of global economic development. Now come to the fifth point. The fifth point is the major objective of the UN is to promote the human rights and democracy at the international level. Now this is the major point to that all the countries they are experiencing the human rights and democracy. So UN is working hard to promote these democracies in any part of the country of the world, and it remains ready to ensure that every country in the world understands the responsibility towards the human rights. Now come to the 6 points. One of the major objective of the UN is to stop the arm race in this present world and promote the spirit of disarmament. You can say this is also a major point because if this could not be there, then there may be chances of the third world war. So this is an important point that to stop the arm race and to enhance the spirit of disarmament. So UN is trying to encourage each member of the state to avoid an arm race and stop the disarmament policy. The seventh point of the major objective of the UN is that to find the solution to deal with the problem at the global warming. So at present we are experiencing the various problems at global level, and it is making a big major you can say UN is providing a platform to all the countries in the world where all the countries could unite together and to fight for their global problems. So, UN, through the various types of the programs and the schemes at the global level, it is trying that every country should be aware of this global issues, especially this global warming, and also motivate the countries to minimize the carbon emissions that could be harmful for our environment also. Now come to the eighth point. The major one of the major objective of the UN is to jointly combat and prevent the various type of the natural disasters and epidemics. Combat means to end. So UN is trying hard, and it is taking various times of schemes and programs also to end the natural disasters and the epidemics. And UN is what is this doing? It is uniting all the countries of the world and inspiring the cooperation behavior among all the countries of the world to end this natural disasters and the epidemics at the global platform levels. So this is very important question. The major objectives of the international organizations. Now come to the eighth question. Describe the various points causing the tensions between India and Bangladesh. Now this is among also from our Southeast Asia region chapter. This is important. Describe the various points that is having a tensions between India and Bangladesh. We know that India played an important role for the independence of the Bangladesh in 1971 and 72. But still, we are experiencing the tensions. The first point is that the tensions between India and Bangladesh regarding the use of the water of the Ganges and Brahmaputra River, and the second one is the illegal refugees from the Bangladesh, called these Chakmas migrants that immigrants that plays an important role in straining relations between India and Bangladesh. Bangladesh is also a major recipient of the Chinese military's submarines and other material in defense sector, which is a matter of concern for India. So we can say that Bangladesh is getting a lot of military support either in the in the form of submarines also, or in the other defense sector also, and it is also a causing of concern for the India's and Bangladesh relationship. Now come to the fourth point. The Bangladesh has experienced Bangladesh had earlier expressed concern over the national register of the citizens to identify the Indian citizens in Assam, which showed relations between the two countries. So this is regarding the citizenship of the Bangladeshis to be who have taken the shelter in India. So this is concerned. This is also a major relation of tense between the two countries. Now, fifth point is the incidents of hatred towards Muslims in India also affect the public perceptions in the Bangladesh also. So various you know that Bangladesh is mostly Muslim inhabitant countries, and here this public perception, the publics they are not they are having a hatred toward these Muslims in India. So this is also main concern among the India's and Bangladesh relationship. So this is the major points of tense between India and Bangladesh. Now come to the ninth question. What are the criteria set for becoming a permanent or the temporary member of the Security Council for the UN? This is an important question because in this question we can also ask that how India is claiming its stand for to become a permanent member in the UN Security Council. So, what are the major criteria? Criteria means the major conditions that are required to become a permanent member of the Security Council of the UN. So, here some I have written some points here that in viewing the increasing demand for the changes in the structure of the UN, this is also important question. Why we need a need to reform the UN, also need to restructure the UN also. Here, first increasing demand that come from 1st January 1997 when the Kofi Annan was Secretary General of the UN. He started an investigation to find out how to bring about these reforms. For example, whether a new member of the Security Council should be elected or not. So in this year and the followed year also, some conditions are being suggested to become a permanent or the temporary member. Permanent temporary means the non-permanent member of the Security Council. So these are the conditions that a country should fulfill to become a permanent and non-permanent member of the Security Council. The first point is that the country should be big in the economic power. The economic power should be big. I mean, it should be a very rich or developed countries. Second point, the military power of the country should be huge. It has a huge military capacity also. Third point is the country's contribution to the budget of the UN should be more. Whether it could be in any form of the financial budget contribution to the UN should be higher. Fourth point, a big country in terms of the population. The size of the population should be there, should be high also. And the fifth point is a country that respects the democracy and the human rights. The country who is claiming for a permanent or non-permanent should be democratic and should respect the human rights also. Sixth point, the country which respects the diversity of the world in terms of the geography, economy, and culture. Means that country that is claiming for this membership should respect the diversity in form of the geography, economy, and the culture. So these are the areas of the conditions that are required. These are the 6 points that are being required for to claim for a membership of either a permanent or non-permanent member of the UN Security Council. Now come to the 10th question. India is strong contender for permanent membership of the Security Council. Analyze this statement. So this is again in some sort similar to above ninth question. Now, how India stand for a contender for a permanent member in the Security Council? India, you know that India is educating reforms in the Security Council, and India is considered itself to be a strong contender for the permanent membership of the Security Council. And India claims this contest because of the following factor basis. Now, first point is that it is the most populous countries after the China, and India leads the world with a huge large population. Second point is India is the largest democratic country in the world, and roots of the democracy India is very strong. And along with this, India is always serious about the human rights and work continuously for the promotion of this human rights and democracy also. Now, third point is that India is one of the most powerful in the world from the military point of view and nuclear power. So its nuclear capacity is also very powerful, and it is playing a significant role in India becoming a powerful in the military wise also. And the fourth point is that India is one of the fastest growing economies in the world also. Its GDP rate is also increasing very fast, and hence India will emerge as a powerful country in the terms of the economy in the coming year also. Fifth point is India is unique country geographically also. You know that India's being a subcontinent, Indian oceans provide a central position to the India. Along with the India is also rich in the field of biodiversity also. India's culture is very amazing, and it is emerged as a leader in the world politics also. This is the fifth point. Now come to the sixth point. India is the major country that continuously contributing to the budget of the UN, whether it is the financial budget or whether it is providing a peacekeeping army forces also. India is continuously contributing to the UN, either in the form of the UN peacekeeping forces or either in the form of the financial budgets also. So these are the conditions that India is claiming to be a continuous to be a contender for the permanent security uh, of the UN. Now come to the 11th question that is important. Analyze the relevance of the UN in the present time. It is almost similar to our eighth question, and that is regarding the importance of the UN. So here's it is almost similar that how can we say that UN at the present time, what is its importance? The relevance here in the present time is that UN has was established we know that after the Second World War in 1945, why UN was formed. It was formed, established to save the world from the Third World and establish peace in the whole world. And we can understand the relevance of the UN through this following point. First point is, at present, UN is an important organization which is working on international peace and international security. The relevance of the UN for the international economic cooperation is absolutely necessary at the present time if we want to experience our world in the economic development. uh, the UN cooperation is also necessary because UN is working to improve the economic relations between the various members countries of the world. Third point, in the present time, we can understand that the relevance of the UN in the way it is working as an important organization in stopping the arm race in the world and implementing the policy of the disarmament. So, at the world level, we can say that it is the UN also, only the UN that can stand for the whole world countries to stop this race of armaments and to enhance this policy of this disarmament there. Now, come to the fourth point. It is even more relevant in the present time that UN there is an urgent need for nuclear disarmament. We know that various countries are also making efforts to the nuclear power development, which can be terrible for the whole entire world also. So this UN can make only an efforts to only to end this nuclear disarmament. Now come to the fifth point. We we can also understand the relevance of the UN in the way no country alone to combat the various natural disasters and epidemics also that we the world is experiencing. Only the UN international organization can help this to combat it. Now come to the sixth point. UN that is playing an important role as a decisive role, you can say, to save our earth, the entire world, from the third world war. And it would be not an exaggeration to the say that only because of this effort the UN, the world has been saved from the third world war. And the seventh point is that we all know the hegemony, the dominance of the America is playing a very supreme role. So UN is playing an important role in the present scene. UN is only an organization which has the ability to challenge the American supremacy. So this is the major 7 point which can show that how UN is playing an important role in the present scenario in the present global world. Now come to the 12 questions that is important. Your first block. The American influence can be clearly seen on decision of the UN. Describe the factors showing the American influence on the UN. So this question is very clear. How means how UN's how America is playing uh, is influencing all the policies of the UN, or you can say the dominance of the America over the UN. So here I has mentioned some points also, which shows that how these factors are responsible, which are showing that dominance of America. First point is the UN state on the policies and the program of the UN is also visible because the headquarters of the UN is located. Most of the its organs headquarters are located in America, and the way the United States is able to influence the policies and the program of the United Nations. The second point is United States is also able to influence the policies and the program of the United Nations because the majority of the employees, the workers, the manpower, the employees working in the United Nations, they are from the America. So in this way also, America is striving to exert its influence on the UN, even the strength of the number of the employees. Now, third point is United States come first among the countries that provide the maximum economic cooperation to the United Nations. So you know that the economic budget spent on the UN, that is maximum at the top level. America budget fund allocation to the UN is very high. So this clearly shows that United States can clearly seen on the policies and the program of the United Nations. The fourth point is that we can also see the influence of the United States on the United States on the United Nations, because being a permanent member of the Security Council, and it has the veto power also. So America uses its veto power as per its interest and influence the policies and the decision of the United Nations. So these are the 4 points that shows that how America's supremacy in the United Nations is becoming more, and their supremacy is seen in every decision program or the policy of the United Nations. Now come to the 13th question, that is also important from your CBSE point of view for the fourth mark. That is again from your first book. This is almost similar to your first question, that what are the various objectives behind establishing the European Union. But in the earlier we have seen how European Union has become an alternate center of power. Now here, what are the uh, objectives behind which is making European Union. Now first, I have already also mentioned, after this Maastricht Treaty in 1992, EU was came into existence. So following the objectives which were laid down before the establishment of the EU. The first point is the EU was established with the aim that the foreign policy of all the countries, including the organization, could be made uniform. So we know that at present they are having the 29 members in the EU, as Britain has withdrawn its membership, and now there are 29 members also. So the first policy is that these EU has one foreign policy that could be uniform for all the members, and the security policy could also be decided so that the equality could be established in this organization. So they have a uniform policy, and this is equally applicable to all the members of the EU. Second point is the one of the objective behind the establishing the EU is to resolve the mutual disputes and the tensions in a peaceful manner, and help in resolving the various matters also. So they try to solve their any disputes or areas of tension with the mutual corporations also. Now third point is that one of the objectives of the EU was to create a common currency for the member countries, and this effort was also made. Euro dollars, we know that euro currency is prevalent in many countries of the Europe. Now, the fourth point is EU was established with the aim that there could be a free movement of all the goods. You can say the commodities of the people and uh, ideas between all the member countries of this organization, and there is no need for the visas, and such arrangements are being made for the free movement between all the countries of the European Union. So these are the 4 points that are the major objectives being laid down for the formation of the European Union. Now come to the 14th question, that is from your second book, The Indian Politics. Now, the first question that is we know that is important was the what do you understand by the term the State Reorganization Commission, and what are its recommendations? This is the most important question. It is asked many times in the CBSE. We know that the Congress first session in 1920s, the Congress leader agreed that after independence, the states in the India could be created on the basis of the languages spoken there. Because after independence, no attention was paid for the creation of the state on the basis of the language, due to which the most of the South Indian leaders of the Congress became angry. One of them, the Gandhian leader Poti Siramullu, in the year 1952 decided to separate the Telugu speaking from the Madras state and started a fast unto death to demand a separate state. And after about 56 days, Potti Siramullu died, and a violent demonstration started in the region. And under these circumstances, the government created a separate state for Andhra for the Telugu speaking people from the Madras state and announced the creation of that state, Andhra and Telugu speaking Madras state. And in order to avoid such a situation further and to determine the policies related to reorganization of the state in India, the government constituted its first commission in 1953, the State Reorganization Commission. Former Supreme Court Judge Fazal Ali, he was made the chairman of this commission, and Hadranath Kunzru and K.M. Panikar was they were appointed as the two other members of this commission. So these three-member commission was made for this reorganization of the state. And this commission, after completing its work, either related to its recommendations, and submitted its report to the government of India in year 1955. And some of the main points that recommendations were made. First recommendations from this state reorganization commission was that India three-tier system of states A, B, C should be abolished. India three-tier system of states of A, B, C should be abolished. Second point, the boundaries of the states in India should be determined on the basis of the languages spoken there. The boundaries of the state should be determined on the basis of the languages spoken there. Third point is all union territories of India should be merged with their surrounding states except Delhi, Manipur, and Andaman and Nicobar. All the union territories of the India should be merged with their surrounding state. So these union territories they were not merged earlier also. These are Delhi, Manipur, and Andaman and Nicobar. So the State Reorganization Commission submitted its report in 1955, and then on the basis of this report, the Indian Parliament passed the State Reorganization Act in 1956 and divided the country into the 14 states and the 6 union territories also. You can see this map in your NCRT book also, and it is mentioned here the number of the states, the names of the states, and the 6 union territory names is also mentioned clearly in your NCRT book also, along with the map also. You can go through in detail, you can go through your NCRT book also. Now come to the 15th question, the describe any 4 defects of the Soviet system. This is again from your first book. The 4 major defects of the Soviet system was that Soviet system was it's a better and advanced communication system. The Soviet system was country with the best communication system in the world. I think the question is something wrong. It's not the defects. It should be the major features or the good points of the Soviet system, not the defects. Because here it is mentioned here they have a good communication system, and the second point is there is an absence of unemployment in the Soviet system also. And the third point is the major feature. These are the features of the Soviet system was that this system carried out industrial development in the country at a very rapid pace, and every item to be produced here, every item is being produced within the country also. And the fourth point is that one feature of the Soviet system was that minimum standard of living facilities were being made available to all the citizens of the Russia, and the government provided the minimum essential commodities to every person. So these are the features of the Soviet system, not the defects, but it is the features of the Soviet system. These are the features of the Soviet system. These are the 4 features of the Soviet system. Now come to 16th question. Why will South Asia remain a conflict prone area? Explain. This is again from your NCRT book. Southeast Asia is every time we have experienced an area on conflict. It is always prone to conflicts. Now, what are the main areas of conflict? Here we can see these countries are, you can say, the India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, and Maldives. In terms of these Southeast countries, they are experiencing every time the areas of conflicts. The first is the bilateral issues. South Asia will remain an area of conflict and tensions as long as the issues of the bilateral disputes they are persistent in this region. They are continuous in this region. South Asia, there is a mutual tensions in many countries. Say we have experienced the India and Pakistan, India and Bangladesh, India and Sri Lanka. There is always an area of conflict and tensions in this region. Now come to, so this is a bilateral issues. Continuous India is experiencing mutual tensions between India and Pakistan, India and Bangladesh, and India and Sri Lanka. So this is the areas conflict atmosphere is between these countries. Now, second point is that terrorist activities. The situation of the conflict and tension persistence in the South Asia because of the terrorist activities that are promoted by some of the countries in this region, due to which the situation among these countries became mutual conflict and tensions. Now, third point, the lack of the mutual cooperation and trust among these countries. So, South Asia, that we can say, remains a conflict-prone area because of the lack of mutual cooperation and trust among the countries in this region. That is clearly visible. These countries in the region continue to have suspicious and apprehensive attitude towards each other. Now, the fourth point is the image of the India. Image of the India, you can say that South Asia, it remain a conflict prone because India is becoming a most powerful country in this region, and India is far ahead from these countries in terms of whether it could be a military power, economic or population or the area. And due to its behavior also, the countries towards the other, India remain oppressive. So these are the four points that shows about that why the Southeast Asia remain an area of conflict, or even you can say that even India with regarding to India is also. Now come to the 17th question. Identify any four sources of the new security threats and explain them. This is again from your first book. The main sources of security. These are the four sources of security. First point is the terrorism. Terrorism, you know all know. Terrorism, a new security threat. Terrorism and activity, we can say that civilian where civilians are subjected to indiscriminate and deliberate violence so that they can create an atmosphere of fear in their minds. So terrorism, you know, said it is an act by the terrorists to hijack the civilians to fulfill their demands. Also, they pressurize the government. Their main target is the civilians also. The second point is the global poverty. Global poverty is also a source of a new security threat. Is also most of the countries they suffer this problem of the poverty, and due to this poverty, they are not able to fulfill the basic facilities that are available that are necessary for their survival. That is not available to its civilians. Now, third point is the point is the migration. Migration is also important source for the new security threat. Many people in these countries, because they are not able to get the good standard of living, they are not having a better lifestyle or healthy services, health services, education services that are required for their families. So the main reason for the discouragement was and promotion of the migration was that due to this, so you can say the push factors that are available in their countries, that is they're not having a good standard of living and health servicing, and due to this create a conflict at the global level. Now the fourth point is disaster and the epidemics. Many types of the diseases and the epidemics at the present level, we can say that they are in the international level. They are created a area of tense problem, which is emerge a main source of danger. You can say there's the various epidemics. You can say HIV, AIDS, bird flu, swine flu, coronavirus is there that is spreading all over the countries in the world, and due to this migration, tourism, and many areas you can say that is being affected. So these are the major four concern area for the these are the new sources of the threat to the security. Now come to the 18th question. What is meant by the security, and mention the four components of the Indian security. Now, security, we know that it is generally means the freedom from any kind of the danger. It means freedom from the serious of the threats that are the central value of the life are not being harmed. You can say the central, not the core values of the our life. They should not be harmed in any way. This is called as the security. The four components of the security strategy are: first, strengthening the military capacity; second, strengthening the international institutions and rules; third, to to prepare to deal with the internal security problems of the country; fourth, to strengthen the economy to relieve the majority of the country's citizens from the poverty and destitution. So these are the major four components for the India's security strategies. Now come to the 19th question. The government of India has played a participating role in the global efforts for various programs related to the environment. Give the four example in support of this. It means you can hear what is India stands on at the global environment. This is from your chapter environment. Now, what is the stand of India? Now, India has always been a serious towards the environment protection and has always appreciated the efforts at the global level. Now, India has made an efforts to implement the global environmental protection program at India level, and some of these examples are as follows. First is UNESCO that first at the fourth Earth Summit that was started in Rio de Janeiro in 1992. India participated in this also. Again, Kyoto Protocol, and even these India has participated in these various international environmental protection programs. And conventions also. Now in India, India has made various protection programs also. First protection program is that national auto fuel policy. It is made mandatory for all the vehicles in India also. Second point is that in 2001, in Energy Conservation Act was passed, means to enhance a more efficient use of the energy. So this act was passed, and again in 2003, Electricity Act was passed, through which India has given priority to the use of the resources of the renewable sources of the energy. And the fourth point that India has promoted the use of the clean coal in country, and along with this, India is also working on the national mission related to the biodiesel. So India is also working hard for the carbon emission also that is harming to our environment. So it has promoted the use of the clean coal policy. Now come to the 20th question. Describe any four cultural effects of the globalization. This is again from your first book in the last chapter, globalization. Firstly, here it is the four cultural effects of globalization. Only the cultural consequences of the globalization is being asked here. Globalization, we all know that is a multidimensional process where the economic, cultural, political effects are visible. The cultural effects are as follows. The cultural impact of the globalization that we have seen due to this, originally the word culture has been adversely affected, not only to our country example, but also at the global level, the whole world's culture that is being affected. Globalization has negatively affected the fundamental core values of the culture of all the countries of the world. Secondly, globalization has imposed the task of imposing the Western civilization on entire world. Every country of the world has been handed over the Western culture and civilization through this globalization also. Now, third point is the diversification has also been seen among the cultural effects of the globalization. It means that globalization has further enriched the cultures of the different countries also. So, next point is we can also say that the cultural effects of globalization in many ways. Due to this, the choices of the food, the drinks, and the lifestyle or the clothing lifestyle that has increased or being affected at the global level. And more examples are you can say go through the NCRT book. More examples are being there. Culture fusion is also there now. Wearing of this, you can say the kurta with the Indian culture. You can say the wearing the kurta with the jeans. This is showing what the culture confusion also, and the introduction of various types of the foods. You can say the pizza, burgers, spaghettis. That is the Western culture how it is being shared, and the clothing pattern you are now being fair. So you can go through your NCRT book for more elaborative answer also. Now come to the 21st question. Describe the factors that give rise to the tensions between India and Pakistan. This is also important question that the major areas of conflict between the two countries. The first is the Kashmir issue that we know that this issue is from your 1947 at the partition time when Hari Singh had taken a step not to be a part of the Union of India. So reasons stay in relations that continued between this and this issue is disputed till today also. Second point is the cross-border terrorist activities that is also being playing an important role for areas of tensions. Third point is that Pakistan propaganda about India's at international level also that how Pakistan is propagated, making the image of India at the global level. This is also area of concern for the India stand. Come to the fourth point, there is a dispute between India and Pakistan regarding the sharing of the water, especially the Indus River water, separate dispute regarding the Indus River. And fifth point is like the Chechen Glacier and the Sir Creek, the Kargil and the Chechen Glacier War, where we have experiences. And this also increases the areas of tension between the two countries. Now come to the sixth point. The economic and the military help given by the China to Pakistan is also a source of tension between the two countries. So the Pakistan is getting most of the support from the China. So this is also a main concern for the uh, India's and Pakistan relationship. So these are the 21 question which I have taken mostly from your first book, and these are important from your CBSE point. All the best and thank you very much.